Ali.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Now that the UK has left the European Union, our focus must be on getting a deal which protects jobs and businesses and allows British firms to trade freely, as well as guaranteeing the supply of goods and services and frictionless trade, which we were promised. The coronavirus pandemic, has shown how fragile the supply chain can be, both across Europe and also globally, and the disruptions and the impact that can have on people's lives as well as businesses. We need a deal that safeguards workers' rights and environmental standards and protects the Good Friday Agreement, as well as keeping access to medical supplies and ensuring that they are kept intact. And crucially, that it rejects the kinds of tariffs and barriers which make it harder to trade abroad and which would push prices up and make it more difficult for people who are already suffering. The deal we strike must protect the well-being and security of our citizens. That is the first duty of any government. And ministers have insisted on sticking to the timetable drawn up before the extraordinary events posed by the pandemic. And more recently, it was striking to see that 2/3 of the British people have said that they agreed with the statement the government should request an extension to a transition period in order to focus properly on coronavirus and dealing with the consequences of that. Ministers' timetables take no account of the disruption to the negotiations because of COVID, nor the dramatic effect on our economy. And we don't need to emphasise to the House the Bank of England's prediction that we face the worst economic slump for over 300 years, with unemployment set to double this year and youth unemployment set to reach 1 million. And millions of people coming through this pandemic face redundancy, face great uncertainty, many thousands having lost loved ones and losing their businesses, their homes, and a deep economic depression at worst. And yet ministers are insisting on pursuing the same course of action as before this crisis. When the withdrawal agreement bill was being debated, we argued on this side that it should be sensible and flexibility should be built in to keep our options open. But ministers have rejected this. It's like spotting the iceberg and still steering towards it. The terrible economic prospects make a successful conclusion to the negotiations even more vital now than ever before, for our country, for our security, for our well-being, and one that ensures that even greater burdens are not placed on people and our businesses. Madam Deputy Speaker, there has been the signs are not promising. There has been a marked reluctance in terms of ministers and the Prime Minister providing regular updates, as we've already heard. The government is fearful of scrutiny, fearful of transparency and accountability. And the fact that there's only been one statement after we requested an urgent question emphasised this. And the chief negotiator said on Twitter, "I regret that we made very little progress towards agreement on the most significant and outstanding issues." So looking forward, what is crucial is that we have a trade agreement that truly ensures frictionless trade, protects our rights, and that we protect ourselves against a no deal, against crashing out. And that means ministers need to be responsible. They need to recognise the new reality of this pandemic and the dangers to people's lives and our economy, and ensure that we exit properly, without disruption, without damage to our country.